find me, and some days you can't get rid of me. Well, it just happens that I babysit my granddaughters, so 2 to 3 days a week I am busy taking care of my baby. When she's my top priority, and she gets in the way when I try to when I try to video, because all my granddaughters, if you go on my Facebook Live in Deb's Kitchen, you will see you will meet all my family, because that's my test kitchen where I test out recipes and always let my little grandchildren help. But today I'm going to try a guilt-free root beer float. I've been seeing reels of different types of floats and drinks, and I've been on a health journey since March, and successful slowly, because I am not sabotaging myself like I have in the last 30 years by trying to restrict myself, and then I do good for a while or until the program's over, and then it's back to the same old, same old. Well, this time I am trying to do what my doctor suggested. She said, Daddy, you have a public forum on YouTube. Because I told her one of my excuses why I haven't been able to lose weight is because I cook and I have a channel she goes, well, you have a public audience and you can recreate your favorite recipes healthier. So that got me to thinking. And one of my favorite things in the summer is root beer floats. So we're going to try something here. And I have a 0 sugar mug of root beer. And that's my favorite, one of my favorite root beers. And I'm going to try to make root beer float or something like that. And so what I did was, I got this big silicone ice tray. I got some Premier Protein 30 gram vanilla protein drink. And I filled up 4 of these with my protein liquid. Trying to top it off. Waste not, want not. And then I got my non-fat Greek paella. And into the other squares, I added Greek yogurt. And then I froze them with the idea that this would somehow simulate ice cream. Well, you always get Greek yogurt, don't we? Buy frozen yogurt, although it's sweetened with all kinds of good things. But we're gonna try it this way. I should have maybe added some honey in there, I think, for sweetness. I'm thinking that the protein might do the trick. So we're basically gonna, and then we're gonna freeze these, and you're gonna say, well, they're both white, how can you tell? I'll show you why you can tell in a minute. Okay, let's get those filled the best we can, top it off, and scooch it into the next tray. Then more going in here. And then stick it in your freezer to freeze overnight or however long. Well, actually, overnight would be good, because then you can, let me wash my hands again. If you put them overnight, then you can store them in a Ziploc container. That way, I only have 2 of these silicone molds. So if you get a storage Ziploc bag, freezer bag, I'm going to move these aside because that is done. We just stick them in the freezer overnight. The next day we have this. See? These are the yogurt ones. These are the protein. So you can see where they popped out. And then I run them under hot water just for a couple of minutes and leave them out sitting. And then you press them out. Hopefully they'll come out. There they go. And that's a good thing about silicone. You can press it. And then you can store these big blocks of ice. I might have to put it back under the water. I just got them out. So let me open the bag. How many of you guys like Hooper floats? Who doesn't? I do. I love Hooper floats. That was one of my favorite treats growing up when our dad would take us kids down to A&W to get a Hooper float. Okay, these are, see, once they sit out a few minutes, they will pop out, but I got over diligent. And that way, if you put them in these bags, you can pop in the freezer to make Hooper float anytime you want. See, just here, before you tip, before you start putting cold things in it, write with a marker and date it. Because if you try to write with a marker now, then moisture is not going to allow you to. It won't come out. So now I have a free one. I can make more. So if you want to make a bunch of floats and you only have that many cubes, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. So freeze them in advance and you should be fine. Let me wash my hands again. Just rinse it. I've been out in my garden this morning and I'm just going to show you what I got. Look at those beautiful tomatoes. These are specialty tomatoes. These aren't regular tomatoes. Champagne tomatoes. They're sweet. So sweet. And these ones, my daughter says, you need them to sit out longer. I found that if I let them, and they don't grow any bigger. They get oranger, but look. They get bitten or something. So I don't leave them. I let them ripen. They will ripen. If they're already yellow and starting to ripen, they will continue to ripen on the vine. Now, let's try this. And you're with me on this. This is a new one. So I don't know. We're going to try to make like an ice cream base. Put in our float. But we need a little milk to get those chunks going. And I'm going to try two. I got one of yogurt, one of the vanilla protein. Let's see. Down. It is starting to break down, but I'm gonna have to give it some help moving it because it's in chunk form. Okay, moved it. And this damper allows you to, it'll never touch the bottom, so. This is a high protein, so I'm gonna actually put, because this is equivalent to one bottle of a 30 gram. So if I put 2 ice cubes, that's 15 grams of protein. So let's go for that. I don't want to put too much yogurt in because I want it to be more of an ice cream. So now, let's come back to the drawing board. What am I making? I'm trying to make a guilt-free root beer float, and I'm using frozen yogurt and frozen Premier Protein. I use half of this bottle for this, and I'm gonna add in my soda, but my root beer float, zero sugar, mug of root beer float is hot. So I am going to add some ice, but I always do that when I make to my own. So nothing changing there. But I don't want hot root beer because it's gonna make my ice cream mixture less. And you know, I put it in a big vessel because you know how this thing flows up. So give it enough room to bubble up. That's a hack. Then you won't get frustrated with everything falling out. Okay, let's check. Our protein mixture is ready, and there it is. So we're basically going to dump it, in there. And there's our float. It's gonna bubble up a little, but we are going to try this out. You are going to review it. I mean, see it here first. You saw it here first in Deb's Kitchen. Definitely getting the root beer float vibe. And that's a good way to get in your protein and your yogurt, your high protein yogurt. And yes, I am going to tell you straight out, it's sugar free. So I do taste a slight yogurt taste, but I really can't taste the vanilla protein. What's going on here? Do I have the wrong lid? Anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. My root beer float is a success. If you're watching your health, your sugar, you're diabetic, do this. Zero, no caffeine, 0 calories, 0 sugar. Yeah, it has its sweeteners, but doesn't everything that's low fat? I use unflavored almond milk just to the bottom of the base because those ice cubes, if I just threw them in there like that, they would not process. You have to have a liquid to be able to break them down. And I put about, I would say, 1/4 of a cup. And then I started throwing in my frozen cubes. And I used 2 frozen protein, which is 15 grams of protein, and 1 block of the yogurt. So there you go. I'm telling you, I can live with this. I can do this. I can resist the root beer float. In the summer, this is refreshing. You get all the root beer float vibes, and it's not 100% because it's not the real deal, but it's close enough. And you saw it here. Easy, delicious, guilt-free in Deb's Kitchen. So go make yourself a root beer float. And you won't have to feel guilty. So if you haven't already, go to my YouTube channel, In Deb's Kitchen. Like it, subscribe, and look at all those recipes and share them. And have a beautiful day. You've been at Deb's Kitchen.